G'day, guys. Welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to my second preseason team review. Hope you're all going well. Now, apologies, it has been about a month since I put out my last side. My DMs have been smashed. What's going on, DR? What's your team looking like? What are your plans? So apologies if I haven't got back to people. I've just been super busy lately. Just started a new school, gone from a school with around 250 kids up to 1,200 at this one. I'm still getting lost around the joint. The boys are back with their sports. These are my sons. I've got footy, basketball, tennis, boxing lessons. So every night there is something going on. So I do apologize. I haven't been really active on Twitter and all the rest, but I certainly will as soon as I get a little bit of spare time up my sleeve. Quick shout out to Al Payton and all the legends from the Herald Sun. I was part of the expert SuperCoach jury. So I think there was around 8 to 10 of us that got invited to give some opinions or answer. I think it was 9 questions. That article is free on Code Sport. So make sure you check that out. Some absolute top-notch blokes giving their opinions there on a range of different things. So, yeah, thanks to Al, as always, for inviting me on there. And we'll quickly go through these team previews, which we've already covered. So I will be doing all 18 this preseason, but so far we've covered Adelaide with the Great Georges. We've done North Melbourne with my man Causa and Big J from the centre bounce. We've gone through Hawthorn with Steve from SDS, absolute top-notch bloke as well there. We've done Essendon with, talk about top-notch blokes, my man H, long-serving member of the channel, as well with Joey, one of the nicest blokes in the business. Tell you what, this one was absolutely phenomenal. I had a chat with Matty from Inside the Kennel, got a little bit of inside knowledge here about some of the dogs, some of the real relevant dogs this year. One you will not want to miss, and make sure that you obviously check out his YouTube channel. And this is super frustrating at the moment because I have recorded this with the Swordplay crew. The boys got back together, my bros, Jonathan Spills, to record the Carlton team preview, but I've been trying to upload it for the last 2 days. I don't know what's going on, a bit of a bug in the system. It is ready to rock and roll. So as soon as I can get that up, I certainly will. But all other, what will that be, 12 remaining team previews will be out within the next 2 weeks. So got some absolute legends coming onto the channel for that. But we are obviously here for the team reveal. The last thing I want to do before I get into this is give another shout out to just over 30 people. It's been a while since I've given a big thank you to the members of my channel. So as I mentioned, just over 30, we have 31 people that have signed up to be a member. So super, super appreciative of that. All of the money goes to charity. So really just such a huge thank you to everyone. So I'm going to quickly go through all of these wonderful people. We've got John O'Carroll, 22 months, right up to Carl Meany for 22 months. Thank you very much, guys. Got Rickby G, Charm and Kenny Stockdale, Cody Kedjo, thank you very much as always, mate. Cole Young, as I mentioned, Carl Meany, absolute legends here. Cormac Pete, DM to Devlin, Greggy Wilson, good on you, Greg. Just Cause, Bad Machine. I'm going to get through this quick. Kenneth Brown, Pete Dockery, Izzy U, Maddie Crow, Karen Lawson, thanks, Kaz. Banger, good on you, Banger. Brett M, Dave, Mark Goodwin, Benny Butcher, H, my man, that you would have seen on the Essendon team preview. Crano, Supercoach, thanks, mate. Tommy Cronin, Zakin, Mark Lovell, Stuart Mack, Cole Bullen, Wizard Supercoach. Hey, mate, I've been trying to get onto you. Send us a DM with whatever socials you got, man. Really want to catch up with you, brother. Rohit Dixit, thank you very much, mate. And Causa Blackledge, gone up to the Platinum membership. So I've offered another tier this year. There's a few people that have been asking about that, and I do need to get back to many PMs, so apologies about that. Deal, you're one of them, mate. So, yeah, I will get back to you. Sorry, mate, completely forgot. But, yeah, the Platinum membership is the next level up. So many good bonuses, but never any pressure with this. Just want to give a huge shout out to the members. Thank you very much, guys. But the reason you're obviously here is to see who I'm currently running with at the moment. So let's get into it. At D2, we are going to select one of 2 players at the moment. I'm really keen on 2. Don't know where I'm going, but you notice that James Sicily is now out of the side. So Stewart shifts up to my D1 position. And you'll also notice that I'm still fading King Nick. I must admit that he did enter my side for a couple of hours, but then thought deeply about it, really wanted to stick to my gut on this one and have decided to go with someone else. Now, am I overreacting with Sicily? Maybe, maybe not. Still a lot to think about here, but they are dropping like flies, aren't they? Particularly in the Hawthorn defence. So we know what's happened with Paul Blank. See you later, son. Really, really bad luck, because I think he was going to be a really important cog for Hawthorn this year. Unfortunately, gone for the season. So all the best of luck to the young man. And Denver Granger Barras, I think it's toe turf, 12 to 14 weeks. So another long termer there who actually comes in to fill that role. I'm really not too sure. Will Sicily need to be a little bit more accountable? I'm thinking there's a possibility of that. So I'm deciding not to pay up from the start. I want to get a little bit of data, see how they structure up, and then make a decision then. I certainly think I want him at some stage, but I just think at that starting price, I need to be super confident on exactly what he's going to be doing, and I'm not super confident at the moment. So there's probably three blokes that I'm looking at the moment. If we look at the ownership percentage, the first bloke that I'm looking at here is currently owned by 6% of coaches, and that's Dan Houston. The man below him, over double, 15%, is Harry Sheasel. And this is most likely going to surprise a lot of people, and it's actually surprising me. It's Mr. Bailey Dale, super pod at 1%. Now, I suppose we'll have a very, very quick chat about Dale. So this is all due to speaking with Maddie from the Inside the Kennel podcast during our Western Bulldogs team review. Now, one thing that really got my ears up was the fact that he mentioned that, and he goes to training on a very much a regular basis, has many of the Dogs players and even ex-Dogs players on his podcast as well. So this man knows everything that goes on inside the kennel, hence the name, I guess you'd say. But one thing that he mentioned was that he's been witnessing a set play during lots of sims and training sessions, and that is Bailey Dale taking a short kick in the kick out and then receiving. So looking to kick out and then receive to attack further up the ground. Now, if that's the case, I like the look of that disposal count. Now, teams will certainly be onto that, and hey, how long will he be able to do that if that is a certain set play? How often will that be used? I'm really not too sure, but it really did just prick my ears up there. 507,600. The next man is Harry Sheasel. Now, I originally had Sheasel in my starting side when the picker came out. After that, got a little bit of, I suppose, cold feet, given the fact that there was a little bit of talk he could be pushing into the midfield, possibly even up forward as well, because we all know that that's really what he was drafted as, a forward / midfielder. So I did have concerns there, but at this stage, I think he's very likely to play down back in the same role that we saw him really excel in last year. So I really like his buy. I think his price at 556. That's fairly friendly. Look, he's the 8th most expensive defender that we can select this year. Will he add some second-year blues? I'm not too sure, but we've seen what Dacos has done. I'm not comparing him to a Dacos, but yeah, I like the look of Sheasel, but it's actually Dan Houston at the moment. Now, why is this? Again, very quickly, let's take a quick look at something. So if we take a look at his fixture this year, this may be a little bit hard to see, but from rounds 1 to 10, he plays 7 games at the Adelaide Oval. 6% ownership at the moment, but 7 out of 10 at the Adelaide Oval. Now, if we look at his average, and we'll go around post-buy, let's just go from 8, for example. So if we look at his scores at the Adelaide Oval, so we've got a 122, a 128, a 112, a 146, 85, 120, 122, and a 128. So since round 8, every game at the Adelaide Oval has been 100 plus, aside from that 85. I really, really like the look of that. I love his buy as well. You may disagree that it's not a great idea to have your Houston and your Young, particularly in that defensive line with your 2 premiums, but I still think I'll be able to live with that. I've got plans for that, so I think that I'll be fine there. So even if you look back right at the start, so had the 86 there, the 110, the 123, the 93, and then we get into that 122. So the issue with Houston, I suppose, is his floor at times. So if you look here, 72, 77 isn't great. Away from Adelaide Oval, I suppose. 93 is fine. 81 isn't fantastic, but not an absolute disaster. It's this sort of thing here, the 47 against the Western Bulldogs, that we're a little bit concerned about. And saying that, if you look at his consistency, he has gone a lot better in that regard. We look at this 176, so massive ceiling, even a 156 away at the MCG. So, yeah, what a stretch of form this was. 146, 156, down on 85, but 176, a couple of 120s, just phenomenal from him. The 61, though, and the 63, also of a little bit of concern. I suppose if you look at the 176 plus that 61, it does average out, but we certainly don't like those floor type scores. But given his start to the season, sleeping in his own bed a lot of the time, I don't mind the Dan Houston pick. You're saving, over 50K on day costs. Now, would I much rather a day cost? Absolutely, I would. But I've talked about it many times why I'm not looking to start him, and I'm going to stick with that for now. All right, so the next selection, the structure's already been given away a little bit here, given the fact that that you've got Zachy Williams here. Now, there's a reason for this particular structure, and I'll talk about that when I get to the midfield. May not make a lot of sense at the moment, but I will get there. So what I've decided to do with this spot at the moment is simply just look for a placeholder. So I'm going for someone at a little bit of a higher price, and it's Dan Curtin for now. So I'm definitely not in any way, shape, or form sold on this pick. But given his price, 175K, I feel that it's very easy to go down to a number of players if they actually look okay. So that's the main reason behind the Curtin selection. It's not like he's been absolutely smashing out of the park. I think he's been solid, but durability is a bit of a concern. We've talked a lot about him in the Adelaide preview with George, so make sure you check that out. As news comes along, then things may become less relevant with these videos because we can't predict the future, what's going to happen with certain players with form, etc., in these pracky games and intra-clubs. So, yeah, I'm going with Curtin for now, but keep in mind, more of a placeholder than anything to allow me to go down. Start a little bit high, then allow yourself to go down. All right, the next one is an absolute lock. So after speaking with H and Joey when we went through the Essendon team preview, they absolutely talked this man up. The other bloke that talked him up was David King, and according to Kingy, Essendon's most important player this year. No pressure, young man, but huge raps on Zach Reid. I think he's locked to play 4 games this year if he is fit. Now, durability is always going to be a concern with him, but the talent is absolutely undeniable. I really, really like this selection. Now, there was a little bit of debate whether or not he's more of an on-field selection or chuck him on your bench. Now, I'd much rather prefer him on the bench, I think, if you can. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world having him actually on field if you need to. Now, another thing that I'll mention as well is that I'm not too concerned who I actually have on field, particularly during the early rounds, in regards to my rookies, because it's best 18. We've got some strong rookies in other areas of the ground. So that's not a huge concern to me anyway at the moment. So another thing just to keep in mind. And the other bloke has just been added to SuperCoach. So, when players go down, you Granger Barras with his turf toe and obviously, poor old Blank then. Someone like Ethan Phillips gets his chance. So perfect price, 102,400. Now, with all these injuries and the Hawks just absolutely dropping like flies at the moment, does this young man get a chance? I think there's a fair possibility. So given his price, given the fact that there is an opportunity there, if he puts his best foot forward, I'm going to keep him there for now. If he plays round 1, I think we've just got to lock him in. So wrapped up, we've got a nice rookie there. So, yeah, pretty much going with your 3 primos in Stewart, Houston, Young, Zach Williams. If fit, I think we've just got to start. Even if he doesn't get up for round 0, hopefully he's right for round 1. There's a little bit of talk that he may not quite get there for round 0, but should be fine for round 1. But just keep that in mind, have a bit of a backup plan if you need to. Then Curtin and Gibcus, along with Reid and Phillips. Now, I've had a Toby Pink there. I've had Nick Caulfield. But again, after speaking with Matty, he said that he's probably just out of the 22 at the moment, probably third in line for a particular position. So, yeah, I've taken him out just for now, but he could certainly enter even for a Dan Curtin. Hawes out of the side who have had in at times as well. But that is the setup for now. Into the midfield, so Bont has not moved, neither has Butters and LDU, so I'm not really going to go into that. Just before I lock in this player, Tom Green, if you missed my first team preview, I got a little bit of stick for this, but I think some people misread the message a little bit. Now, I'm starting with Tom Green and potentially looking to flip. Now, I could even hold on to him during that bye. It's certainly a possibility. And then it could argue, well, why aren't you just starting a day cost type? Well, I love Green's start to the season. I think he's got a really good fixture to open up with. So that's why I'm really hot on Green. Now, the other idea with starting with Green, having that early buy, is if there's another bloke on fire, obviously below his price, it's such an easy opportunity for me to go down, to get a player who I've simply missed out on, whether or not that be someone like your Crouch or your Steel types. There's a lot of players all the way down to a Guthrie, or you could even go just under that 620 mark. Now, hopefully, you might like a little bit of cash. I'm hoping so. So I'm going to have options up my sleeve. Now, I did mention Sam Walsh just as one example. I'm not locking in Green to Walsh by any stretch of the imagination. There are a number of players, but I'd much rather start high and go down low because I can't split a couple of other players around the, let's just say, 5 to 550 mark. So I'm just not going to go there, except for maybe one player who we'll talk about in a sec. I'm just going to go Tommy Green. So that's the rationale behind that. Now, there's a couple of players that could feature in this spot. So the first bloke that we'll quickly go down to is Jordan Dawson. Really like the look of Dawson, super damaging. We know what he did last year, a real breakout, and should really lead the scoring for Adelaide SuperCoach-wise this year. Much, much hotter on Dawson as compared to Laird. I think Dawson's just absolutely coming into his prime. This bloke is cherry ripe, so certainly an option there. The price, I think it's okay. Look, it's still high again, top 8 for midfielders, but I think that is for pretty good reason. Now, the next bloke is Caleb Sarong, so 621. Originally, I had his teammate here in Andy Brayshaw, but just with Brayshaw, I'm a little bit worried that he may spend possibly a little bit of time on the wing and outside of that CBA rotation. I think he'll still get very much a decent chunk, still a great pick, but I'm probably preferring someone like a Sarong over him at the moment, more to that inside game, who's more of a tag target. Well, possibly Sarong if he's more of that inside role, but a lot of water to go under the bridge here. They are very hard to split, but Sarong's certainly right up in calculations for me. And the other bloke here, again, after speaking with my man Joey and H, is DP3, Darcy Parish. So when we actually took a look at the raw stats, I thought, how did this man not average 115 plus in a minimum? You know, you look at his disposals per game, but then you look at his efficiency, the fact that he's not the most damaging type play, and you say, okay, well, that's probably a good enough reason. But according to Joey, he's been working on many deficiencies, Essendon with their game plan. Hopefully that will look to change to slightly favour the Parish types, because it really hasn't, particularly in last year. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration here, but probably the most exciting thing is the fact that they've got a new kicking coach over, working very, very closely with Parish, and track watchers have mentioned that has cleaned up already, and it's been fairly noticeable. So that does excite me with DP3. The issue is durability here, but he has the potential. He's got a massive ceiling, as we know. He's got the potential to get to, say, the 650K mark pretty quickly, and I wouldn't mind jumping on board there. So pretty much at the moment, and hey, lots of other options that you could look to go. I'd love a Libba, for example, but the age probably scares me off slightly, and Bont as well as that captain option. I don't really want the top 2 primos in my side midfield-wise to be from the same side. Not that they both can't score well, but just for a different captain option, I suppose, depending on matchups each week. So Parish, Sarong, or Dawson. At the moment, it is the Schlong Caleb Sarong. So you will notice already I've got Young and Houston there, Butters and Sarong. So that's already 4 players from that buy, which some people, again, may not think is ideal, but I'm still very comfortable with that at the moment. So that could certainly change. Definitely a moving piece there in Caleb Sarong. Now, the next one here we go. Now, you probably know who this is if you've been following me on X, because I've been huge on him for probably for at least the last month now, and it is Nick Martin. So I'm not going to talk too much about this man, because the smile on Joey's face and H's face when they were talking about him in the Essendon team preview was absolutely priceless. So I'm going to get you to go back and check out what they've got to say. Timestamps and all these videos, remember, as well, so you can just click straight to him. I am so excited by this pick. Now, I quickly need to talk a little bit about this backline structure. So The reason why I'm not going 4 deep, and I would actually probably rather be going 4 deep down back because of the lack of quality rookies down here or potentially good scoring rookies on field. Again, it's minimized with the best 18 for certain rounds, particularly at the start. Now, this is why I say at the start, because the idea is that this man will very quickly get DPP and bang, in he goes to the defense. And all of a sudden, I've got 4 primos there. Now, in my mind, Nick Martin is a top 8 defender. We don't have the data and the history on this, but I just like everything I see about this pick at the moment. I've also been fed a little bit of inside info on him as well. And all I'm going to say, because I don't want to, with confidentiality, whatever, I've been asked not to say too much or reveal anything or who said it to me, but looking very, very good. They'll be looking for him coming out of the back line. So he's pretty much locked for me at the moment, Nick Martin. I don't think he's going to move. But yeah, the idea is that he'll very quickly go into that defensive line there. All of a sudden, I've got 4 primos. So Stuart, Houston, Young, and Nick Martin. Now, there's 2 blokes that I've obviously missed here, and that's Dacos, who's an absolute lock. So I've got to get Dacos in, as well as James Sicily. Obviously, the other miss here. Now, is it a mistake not starting him? It could be. Certainly could be. But I think I've most likely got to get him in. We'll see what happens with the team structure. The only awkward thing here is that you probably miss out on a Jack Sinclair. He's got a mad Marvel run. But could you flip a Houston if you still got a few trades in the bank come his buy? I'm not too sure. But there's lots of different possibilities here with the side. So that's how we're looking on field in the midfield. And the only change I've made here is to get young Matty Roberts in. So there's been some really great reports about Matty Roberts, who was I forget who the assistant coach was, but basically said that he just has not put a foot wrong, done everything that they've asked of him. Really excited about his prospects this season coming into 2024. So a little bit of competition, possibly with someone like a Braden Campbell. You've got obviously Lizard down there. So there are a few blokes that can actually play this role, but from what I've heard anyway, he has not put a foot wrong and is pretty much putting the pressure on the selectors to give him a game come the opening round. So, yeah, like Matty Roberts, again, I could go down here. We'll just see what happens. You can see as well, like from Houston to Sheasel, there's some cash. From someone like a Sarong to Darcy Parish, there's some cash as well. So there is a few opportunities for me to be able to make some extra coin in the bank if I do need it. So the next bloke here, now, at this stage, now I am not keen whatsoever on running with a loop, but I just don't know who's going to get up. So we're not going to get Sweet, I don't think. Soldo's in front of him. Conway, I'm super worried, paying 180K. We know what Geelong's ruck line has been like for the last few years. It has been an absolute merry-go-round. So what happens if he comes in, does a bit of a constable, and even does a constable for 10 weeks? So he gets those first couple of games maybe, and then we don't see him. He maybe underperforms. Stanley comes in. I'm just not too sure there. I have had Nathan Kruger there, hoping that he may have a chance to fill that McStay void. But again, not too sure. You've got McGuinness, who's been playing really well in the preseason. So Finbar Marley, I just don't think he's going to be coming in. Cherry absolutely dominated him the other day. So, look, I'm really not too sure. So at this stage, I'm just going to go with Livingston simply because he has the best fixture for a loophole. I don't love it. I don't want to do it. But with no other options, I just don't think it's worth paying up for your Sweet or anything, just hoping they get a game. If someone does get a game round one, we'll highly consider swapping from Livingston and just giving it a crack with whoever gets him. All right, now, a few different spots here. Now, originally I had Jack McRae. I will replace him with a different McRae, but just not big on him at the moment. I don't think we can do it. I think he's re-aggravated that injury, that hammy. According to Matty, he was probably going to be third in line after Bont and Libba for that CBA rotation. So that's good signs for Jack McRae. However, I just think with his limited preseason and his age and what we saw last year, we can't trust Bevo by any stretch of the imagination. So he's out for me, but I will replace him with one of his teammates here. Oh, we're in the ruck, sorry. Let's go forward, and that's James Harms. So, again, according to Matty, he'll be playing predominantly a half-forward role with some midfield rotations. He likes his tackling pressure. I think that will be his role. Do you go Harms there, or do you go Billings? I'm not too sure. There's ways that I can possibly add Billings to this squad and Harms as well. So as you can see, fair bit of mid-price madness at the moment. Reed, we've just got to go him. So here's a no-brainer. All right, so the next one I've already mentioned is not Jack, but Finlay McRae. Again, pretty good reports on him. Absolutely smashed it. I think it was in the first quarter of their last intra club. So at this stage, he's a bit of a high price rookie. Not like your Reeds, but 150. It's more than the 117 and 123. So if we need to go down from him, we can. But from all reports, looking pretty good at the moment. And yeah, like the selection, I think it may be his time to actually crack in to this 22. The other bloke, I think, has a really friendly role this year, and it's Alex Sexton. So we actually get him at a rookie price, but he's a really mature body, an experienced player. I hope that he can just keep on to this role. I hope that he's going to continue to perform. But apparently in their last match, Sim, in the A team, along with Connor Buderick, outlet from defense. So don't mind Sexton. Actually really like Sexton at that price, 133, close to a lock for me at the moment. And again, now, this position here, so what we've got 132. It could be so many players. I've had Cadman as that key. We're looking at an early game with North and then with West Coast. So could he kick a bag? If he just kicks a bag in one of those, his price will spike pretty early on, which is nice. There is Cooper Simpson. Don't know how he went last match, Sim, though. Look, a number of options that I mentioned. I'm not going to go through them all, but for now, it's going to be Darcy Jones. So I've got a few notes here on Jones. So what we like for Jones's prospects at the moment is that Callaghan, Perryman, and Cumming are all in doubt for the season opener. Now, could this be a little bit of a trap? Will they be back possibly the week after? And will Jones be the one to actually go out of that side? Now, I've spoken to a few GWS fans, and according to them, he gets an interchange spot in that 22. A few don't think that that's the case, and I can see an argument why, because I've tried to put mine together, and he's right on the fringe for me. But they did give him an extension to 2026 last year after tearing his ACL, so they do have a lot of faith in the young man, and I think he's a really talented type player. So for now, I'm going to lock in Darcy Jones. So we'll save the side. There was a problem with my team. That'd be right. Well, we don't even need to save it because we can just have a look there. So I've got 8,600 remaining in the bank. But, sorry, there we go. But structure-wise, so we've obviously got Stewart, Houston, Young as those three premiums. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm certainly calling Martin a premium this year. That's 6. So 9 in total, 10, 11. And Flanders, look, he's technically mid-priced. But when we look at the other forward options, I think that he's an absolute premium. We know what Dim has said about him. He's talked him up, getting him in the SuperCoach side. So he is an absolute lock for me at this stage. I don't really smell trap like some other people might. So I'm still really big on Flanders. So that's 12 primos for me. Real mid-price madness, as I mentioned, that forward line. You got 5 Harms, Reed. There's a number of players that I've had in there. So you've got your Lazaro types, your Windsors, as I mentioned, your Billings. There's a few fellas that could rotate through here. Maybe for that Harm spot, certainly a Fife as well. But look, all we need is a few early games from Fife. He's going to be playing majority of the time in the midfield. Now, my man Damo from Jock Reynolds, or ex-Jock Reynolds now from the Footy Mailbag, and remember, make sure you sub to his own YouTube channel, Damo Supercoach. He actually chatted with Mr. Justin Longmuir, and he sort of said that, yeah, Fife will be playing predominantly midfield, but may need to be managed at times. So a little bit of a risk there, but we're pretty certain on what his role is going to be. He's not going to be spending a heap of time up forward. He will be hopefully that midfield bull for us. We only need him for a few games. Well, when I say a few, I'm saying 6 to 7, and that will be a huge win for us, I think. So at the moment, I'm going there, but I've been burnt. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. So apologies if I was a little bit hazy there, guys. I am absolutely buggered at the moment, but that is the current side. I will get back to all the DMs that I can as soon as I get some more free time. I will be announcing some league codes coming up, as well as how you can get your entry into a cash league. Pretty much, if you're a member of the channel, you get first preference. So as you can see, there are 31 members. I'm running the 2 leagues at this stage. So yeah, you've got a guaranteed spot if you want to take it as a member. If the membership spots don't fill up, then I will offer them to some other people. I've had a heap of DMs about it. So, yeah, pretty much first in, best dressed there. But more info about that. More team previews coming up as well. Plenty of great guests. But that is the team for now, guys. I will not ramble on because I probably have too much without too much structure to this video. But thanks again for watching. Take care. Hope all is well. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. Bye.